Hey, all you Arizona lovers. This is the Finding Arizona podcast. I'm your host, Jose.
And I'm your producer, Brittany.
And here at Finding Arizona podcast, we collect the local stories of all entrepreneurs and from around the valley. So join us at findingarizonapodcast.com, where you can hear every episode and see it as well at
YouTube. Like, subscribe, and comment below who you want to see next on our show. And when you're ready to start your podcast, you found the right spot. Found House, your next podcast production company.
Now, let's get back to the show. Score big with SeatGeek. Whether it's concerts, sports, or live events, SeatGeek has you covered. Use code FindingArizona to get a fantastic $20 discount on your SeatGeek tickets. Catch your favorite live events hassle-free with extra savings. Visit SeatGeek.com and make every experience unforgettable. Welcome back, everybody, to the Finding Arizona podcast. I'm your host, Jose, and as always, we bring in special guests every week, and today is no different. Love to introduce you to Brendan. Brendan's actually going to let you know about his business and what we're going to be talking about today.
Excellent. Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate your time. Again, to the folks out there, I was late. I am late. I have a 5 and a 3-year-old, so sorry for not being sorry. So here today, I'm to introduce AZ Law Now Injury Attorneys. We're a personal injury firm. We opened about a year and a couple months ago. We have an office here in Phoenix. We have an office in Buckeye, and we're excited to open ourselves to the whole community, to the whole state.
Nice.
And this is the one reason I'm on this today is to tell you, Arizonans, there's never enough lawyers out there. Believe you me, there's never enough. As many billboards as you see in commercials under the access to justice, there's just not enough. So here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you the kind of spiel that we always give everyone. And
Sure.
It's really about like getting to know your beginnings and your origin story, because my belief is that if you get to the root of every tree, you get to see what helps it grow, where is its connections and networks and everything like that. So give us a little bit of your origin story and how this came to be.
Very simple. This was about 3.5 years ago. I'll tell you that because my daughter just turned 3.
Oh, nice.
I get a call from my wife in a panic.
Uh-oh.
And yes, exactly. And she had just been struck by a commercial vehicle at a high rate of speed. Wow. She got in an accident. And at the time, I'm thinking, okay, it's just an accident. She's okay. She's talking to me. It's not the police or fire calling me.
Yeah.
You rush to the scene and you get there and everything's okay. Some property damage, some car, this or that. But what was really concerning that no one really else knew about is we had a 6-month-old in utero.
Yeah.
And exactly, your eyes are going like, well, what do I don't know anything about anything. Yeah. Right. And so it's panic situation.
For sure.
Because of that. And so she jumps in the ambulance, we go to the hospital, it's after hours. So unfortunately we get the B team.
Yeah.
Imaging, and it's just taking forever. You want answers. You just want to know something, right? And the unknown is the scary part.
Yeah.
And sort of fast forward, she was fine, baby was fine, she just turned 3, she's great. But that few hours of unknown uncertainty is what precipitated this whole thing. Yeah. And I'm sure you've talked with other folks. Some sort of, luckily this wasn't a tragedy, but some sort of event just triggers you and goes, wow. The world's a little bit different now. I see new perspective. You see things a little bit differently. I think you're in control, right? You think everything's hunky-dory. Yeah. And then you get a curveball. And so we got a curveball. And going through, and I'll just kind of keep going. Going through the whole process, I think I'm savvy, right? Yeah. I think I can get it done. I think I can take on insurance companies and rentals and subrogation and this and all these big words that I never studied at ASU. I think I can take on. Yeah. And I got stuffed into a locker. Really? I got stuffed into a locker because I just didn't know what I didn't know. Yeah. And so fast forward 3 years, plus or minus, the laws opened up here in Arizona to have non-attorneys own law firms. So I go, hey, I'm going to help as many other people as possible navigate these near impossible, unforgiving situations with multi-trillion-dollar companies that don't care about you. Yeah. And I'm going to do my best to tell everyone about it. Yeah. And so I know that's kind of a condensed, opening, but that's where it was. It's definitely, it helps me understand kind of
because when we bring in individuals about their business, there's an eclectic storytelling process that I always like to say. It's like you either, family has a whole history of this and you're passed down the knowledge, or you're like me, who's someone who's very, curious and kind of stumbles into something that is just very much up your alley, and you float to the top and you really do your best to dive into what is possible out there. And then there's things like this where it's traumatic and it's jolting and it's very quick and revolutionary to someone's life and to someone's well-being and things like that. And so I can totally see why this is so important to you and why you're so passionate. Because if I were like you, and I am a little bit, where we have a son and he is very much a big part of my life. And we had him during the pandemic. Things were different. Things were a little bit tightened and scarier. So being a part of the process was harder to go to doctor visits, go to, delivery. And so I didn't know what the world was going to be like when he came into it. So that's definitely a new insight into my world as far as parenting and being a parent to someone else. And definitely things like this, traumatic, can change things on a dime.
And that's what it was. I looked at the landscape and I go, wow. Like I said, there's enough billboards, there's enough commercials, right?
Yeah.
But under my estimation, there's probably 1 out of 4, maybe 1 out of 5 that people in Arizona get into some sort of accident or have some sort of injury that wasn't their fault and they do nothing about it. It's not because they're dumb or they're stupid or they're lazy. It's because they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
It's not ignorance, but sometimes people just don't want to get out of their own way.
Yeah.
They need to get to work. They need to drop kids off.
Yeah.
They need to do life, and they don't want to go to a medical appointment, or God forbid, they don't want to call a lawyer and then have to get into this process or be a burden.
Yeah.
Well, guess who's clapping and going from the high hills? Insurance.
Yeah.
They're like, yes, John Doe is not going to call today. He's too busy. Life's to this. Kids are to that. And so they win, and they win every day. There's only 5 companies that control 80% of the car market for insurance.
Really?
And so when consumers go up against a company or a business, it's already difficult. It's already uphill.
Yeah.
Going up against an industry that they're all at the top and they all play together is even more difficult. So you need to have an advocate. And that advocate comes in the form of an attorney, lawyer that's competent to represent you.
Yeah.
And here in Arizona, there's 300 accidents a day.
Yes.
And especially in Metro Phoenix.
Yes.
And a lot of them just don't get dealt with the way they should.
Yeah.
They need to get representation. Insurance companies say, oh, well, plaintiffs' attorneys, they're just running up the bill. That's why rates are going up and that's why premiums are going up. Couldn't be further from the truth. You know why rates and premiums are going up? It's because shareholders want to make more money.
Yep.
And so you kind of like back this in, do the math, carry the one. It's like ding, ding, ding. No wonder they're going billboard and commercials at 2 a.m. because there's people out there every day that need help.
Yeah.
And while plaintiffs' attorneys are in a business, we're doing a business. Yes, we draw a profit. They're doing it on behalf of people that just couldn't do it themselves.
Yeah.
And so they are true advocates.
Yeah.
And so I'll go to the mat for plaintiffs' attorneys to combat insurance people. So that's just one of the main reasons I'm getting into this.
Yeah. So that's, that kind of draws out even more of my questioning for you today is, I like to also kind of pinpoint certain areas in that timeline. And one of the things that kind of stands out for me, being that yours came from a series of, traumatic events and wanting to advocate for others, is the idea of like, what was that conversation like with your wife, of like that moment of like you telling her, I want to help people, I want to start something like this? And what was her kind of perspective of this?
She clapped with both hands.
Great.
And jumped on the table and said, good, you're doing something that's great. It's great for us. It's going to be great for other people. It's going to be great for Arizona, and really has been standing next to me this whole ride.
Good.
Because it's uphill.
Yeah.
I mean, starting a business, you've had 400 conversations with people that start businesses, start law firms. I'm not an attorney, so I don't know exactly the law part, quote unquote, but what's more difficult, more uphill is the business part.
Yeah.
All right. And so that's where my expertise comes in, and how to hire, what to look for, what not to look for, where to go, who to market to, funding, all that stuff. But my wife, she's like, yes, go do this. If we needed help, everyone else needs help.
Yeah.
we have the means, we have the experience, we have the expertise, but we still, like I said, got clobbered. So she said, go do it. Don't stop. Get to the top of the mountain. Help as many people as you can and go for it.
Yeah.
And so here we are about a year and change later, and we're open, we're flying.
Yeah.
We have clients, we have cases, we're moving and grooving.
Yeah.
I want to expand. I'm hungry. There's a huge market to get. It's called a greenfield opportunity. It's not all concentrated at the top, as opposed to the insurance market. So if you want it, you can go get it.
Yeah.
And then the client satisfaction, getting a 5-star review, getting a text message or a phone call saying, hey, Brendan, you and your crew really helped me out.
Great.
Hey, I was really pleased with your service. And I know that just kind of maybe rings hollow, or you read it on a Google and it's like, okay, whatever, it's just another review. But people are in the toughest, most difficult uphill state of mind mentally and physically. And so to help them out in any sort of way, to put a couple extra bucks in their pocket, to get their car back, to get them back into life, which is already hard enough, is fulfilling.
I'll give you two things. One is, the perspective of just seeing or people hearing that you get the 5-star review, but at the end of the day, they don't know the personal story of like, well, they were in a traumatic hit and run, or they went through this much physical therapy, they lost such and such. It's those connective tissues that really ring more for you, the person involved, and the lawyer also as well, that those stories and that review, that 5-star review, is the biggest pat on the back for you guys. And then the other aspect, or the other little bit I want to give you is, you bring up a lot with these car incidents, and we unfortunately had an issue not too long ago, and you were bringing up all the accidents that happen, and luckily ours was just mostly a fender bender, which is just cosmetic damage to the vehicle. But again, we had our son in the vehicle with us. So I'm sitting in the back. We're coming back from picking him up from preschool. She's in the driver's seat, and we, someone cut us off and it hit the side bumper. And, we had this internal conversation really quickly of like, what do we want to do? Like, what can we do? And like looked at each other, and she was smarter than I and was like, I'm going to get insurance involved. And she called the police and we took care of it. And luckily, we ultimately chose that decision because, one, we knew through each other that this would be the best route, because we knew that we would get, our car will be taken care of and we'll be able to get it back. And on top of that, with the insurance that we have, we were able to get a rental and things like that. But on top of that, it's just, I think for us, it was just moments of like what our families had been through in the past, traumatic history of like dealing with certain issues like this. And I remember specifically of myself as a child, my dad did his best he could when someone hit him to like understand them and like, look, he's been faulted where it's like they only gave him a couple $100 to help him, and he just ate it. And I feel for him because his car was never the same. He, struggled to get it repaired, things like that. And so, those moments of like learning from your past traumas, learning from your past history, and taking advantage of, look, we're going to do what's best for us, and taking those moments of like tragedy and trying to push something better for ourselves. And definitely it's just one of those things where I wanted to share with you. It's like, we're not above those incidences. We have struggled and have been in those moments of scary trauma.
Your story, first of all, happens every day, happens every hour. Your kid's in the car. You need to get him or her to daycare. And you're like, oh God, what do we do?
Yeah.
Do we call insurance? That's fine. Call your insurance company. But as most people think, their insurance company doesn't have two hands together. They're not your neighbor. Mm-hmm. They are adverse because they want to maintain profitability. And so if they have to start coming out of pocket, even on their policyholders, that's a bad thing. So it looks like you're on the same side as insurance, and insurance calls and says, yeah, we'll take care of this, sign right here. Boom, your dad's story then comes in. Your dad didn't know what to do. The insurance adjuster, I'm sure, said, okay, we'll take care of it, just sign here and everything's fine. Mm-hmm. And instead of getting potentially a larger amount to handle just being made whole, you're still left and he's still left with what could have happened and what should have happened and what should have happened if the insurance company had done the right thing, or if all these what ifs, because everyone knows somebody that's been in an accident. Everyone knows if they potentially did hire someone, or if they were made whole. Most of the time, they just know their friend, they got hurt and they lost their car and they're busted up and now they lost their job because they can't get there in the bus. And so it's like this cascade, right? Then they have to take out a personal loan and then they're late on those payments and it just cascades and cascades and they're hurt. And so if we can let the people know, call somebody, not just me, call anybody.
Yeah.
They're all good. They will all represent you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, twice on Christmas. All right. And that's fine. It's not about me. It's about getting representation for everyone in Arizona and across the U.S. because we are in a battle with insurance. Now, insurance is good. When insurance does pay and insurance does come to the table and they do, meet in the middle, if you will, then it's fine. If there was no insurance, wow, that'd be a different world.
Yeah.
Most of the time, though, they want to protect their profits, and that's fine. So here in Arizona, like I was saying, it's just so important to, just not just like look on the internet or watch the TV, but take a deep breath and look at your partner or call a friend and say, this is what happened. Because a lot of people just bottle it up. And they think, and this is what happens a lot, you get a lot of survivor guilt. They go, oh my God, I was hit. You know what? I'm just going to keep quiet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to ruffle feathers. And again, insurance is just going bravo.
Yeah.
And so I'll just beat this drum again. Hire somebody, call somebody that's competent. Your story, your dad's story, your friend's story, my story. I mean, this is how it started. Stories sell, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a pitch deck on a table and saying, hey, let's do this. It comes from, internal. And one of the main reasons, again, I'm doing this is to help Arizonans. And the only way to really do that is to get out in front of them and to say hi. Brands are on an all-time low because the CEOs at some boardroom a million miles away are not doing podcasts. They're not coming on and saying, hey, I'm ready to meet you.
Yeah.
They're just some big nameless, faceless corporation. But nowadays, in the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, you need to get on camera. You need to go see your clients.
Yep.
You need to say, I'm here, I'm real, I'm faulted, I'm old, I'm bald, I have 2 kids, I'm tired.
Yes.
Okay, but I'm still gonna fight my ass off for you.
Yeah.
And they wanna see that.
Yeah.
Not just a commercial, not just a billboard, they wanna see that you're out there, that you're on the street, that you're not perfect. Because guess what? All of our services are about the same. Your accountant, they're all about the same. All right, take any service business. You throw your car, to some car fix-it place, they're gonna fix it. But if you know and you like and you trust that accountant or you trust that car guy or you trust that attorney or law firm, they call you and say, okay, we have a problem. That's okay. I trust you. You got my back. I know it's best. Okay, let's keep going. It's when there's no communication, right? It's that customer service breakdown.
Yeah.
Your accountant calls and goes, you know what? You're actually $10K back in taxes. You're gonna have to pay. You're like, well, why did you call me? And it's because there's no relationship. Yeah. Your accountant is just sitting behind a desk somewhere in New York, or your auto mechanic is at some big shop and he just rotates around. And so one of the things we're doing is really branding and saying, hey audience, hey Arizona, I'm here. We're here. Yeah. I'm not on the other side. I'm not hiding behind some pitch deck or some big boardroom. I'm here. I want to be your guy.
That's great. And that really makes a difference for us. And one of the reasons why I trust and do this a lot more now with the kind of guys like yourselves who really do care and have this kind of bigger entity behind them is the fact that it's like, again, it's this feeling of like, look, I feel comfortable now with you and with who I am and who I deal with, or my clientele, and just want to share that with them so that they can feel closer to you, so that they are just like, look, I had this issue come up and I heard your episode. I really do like what you have to say. I'm trusting you to take hold of what I went through and help me out here. So it's like, if I can get one person in the door like that, I feel comfortable and happy with what I do here on a daily basis. Is this podcast means something when I get stories like that. It's like just simple things like, Jose, I went out and saw the person that you interviewed. I loved it. I enjoyed it myself. I enjoyed their services. Thank you for doing the episode. And I'm like, cool, that makes me feel 1,000 times better. Or like the owner coming to me and it's like, hey, someone heard my episode and was really intrigued and wanted to work with me or collab with me. And it's like, great, that's wonderful. That's all I'm here for. And like, it's those moments that make me feel like my purpose in life is doing this with everyone like yourself who care enough to want to share that story of like, I'm here, trust me, look at me and help me help you sort of thing. And so that's just really great about this podcast.
Without a doubt. And Hollywood doesn't always get it right, but a couple decades ago, they nailed it. And one of my favorite movies, and you have to be like of a certain age, and the movie was called Tommy Boy. All right, starring Chris Farley and David Spade. I'll tell you why. It's a sales movie. Yeah. Okay. It's a marketing movie. It's a branding movie. And if you want to start a business or anything, watch that movie. And I'll just kind of go through it quickly. They have a great brand, and Big Tom is the patriarch of the family, and he makes all the sales, and he's big and loud and rambunctious and drives the biz, and then he suddenly passes, and so now Dumbo son inherits the company, and even though they have a great brand, they have great products, distribution, everything's great. He doesn't know his thumb from his finger, right? Yeah. And so he has to save the company. So he can't just sit behind the desk. Yeah. He has to go out and rebrand and build know and like and trust. And he screws up and he screws up and he screws up. But then he gets the sale, and then he gets another sale, and then it's just rolling and rolling and rolling because now they know. It just takes one. It just takes one. And so now people, all his customers, which are mom and pop stores that are untrusting of the big company, they see Tommy Boy walk in, they know him, they like him, they trust him, they're going to buy the brake pads. He saves the company, everyone loves it, right? Yeah. And they nailed it. And that's I tell people that story all the time, like, if you want to get into sales, watch that movie, then let's talk about it. Yeah. Right? If you want to go into marketing, watch that, let's talk about it. If you want to go into branding, watch that movie, let's talk about it. Yeah. Right? All the other antics are hilarious as well. And it's Hollywood got that one right. And if you are a founder or you are a CEO, you have to get out and do the Tommy Boy. You have to get out on the proverbial road and shake hands and kiss babies, whether it's behind the camera, podcast, TV, nonprofit way, whatever you got to do, event, all that. You have to get out and see the people, especially now. People don't just Google you and go, oh, I'm going to call this guy. Yeah. They're going to look at your Instagram. They're going to look at your Facebook. They're going to look at your everything. Practically can do a background check on you now. Yeah. They're going to AI you and say, oh, this guy, da-da-da-da-da. And so you need to have a track record. You need to have a brand. You need to have gone on podcasts like this, TV, whatever it is, and be somebody. Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what you guys have done. And all of your productions with all the other businesses, I'm sure are just, like this from the top. So I say keep doing what you're doing. I'm loving being here, and that's what I got for now.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it. One of the things that you brought up was the idea of, like, again, you're not a lawyer by heart, and you're by career anyways, and you are kind of this business entity that brings together these fantastic lawyers. I want to know, what are some of the things that you are, one, hiring based off of, or two, what are you trying to do to make yourself different from these other lawyers around the area?
Gotcha. What am I hiring for? I'm hiring good people. I'm not really a resume guy. I don't really care where you went to school. I don't care what your grades were. Let's not compare there. Okay. I don't care where your undergrad was or where you went to law school or whatever you've done in the past. It's what are we going to do in the future? Yeah. What metrics do you want to hit to get to where you want to be? And I'm a go forward kind of guy. We can't rewind it. Yeah. Right. Number two, what am I doing that's different? I'm a non-attorney owner of a law firm. Therefore, I'm laser focused on marketing and branding and building a business that provides law services. I love that. I'm not going to depositions. I'm not going to trials. I'm not doing any of the legal work. Yeah. I am ensuring that customer service is A+. I'm ensuring that clients are walking in the door, and when they leave the door, they are happy. They are content. Yeah. And it's a different model. And so I'm one of the earliest adopters of this new, it's called the alternative business structure here in Arizona. That's the other thing
I was going to go into.
The alternative business structure here in Arizona. And I was one of the early adopters, and it only came out a couple of years ago. And so I'm not first to market, but I'm up there. Yeah. And so it gives me an advantage when I'm talking with potential clients or their families, and I say, hey, I'm not an attorney. They're like, what? They're like, well, what's going on? Tell me about it. And I tell them this brief story, and they're like, oh, so you hire attorneys and you make sure they do the business part. Yeah. And I go, yes. They go, oh, why is that? I go, well, a person versus a business creates a difficult relationship. We're a business, insurance company is a business. Getting a business to business solution is always faster and always better.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is, because they're a business, we're a business, we want to work something out.
Yeah.
Consumer versus business creates a struggle. It does create a tension. Law firm versus a business creates tension. So I'm creating kind of a new category when we're going up against insurance companies, and I say, hey, we're a business too.
Yeah.
We don't want to use the law.
Yeah.
Let's just be a business. And they're like, oh, okay, that's different. And so that's why I'm quote unquote different.
Yeah. And then I think it's the one thing I'm thinking about in the structure of things of like, when you're a lawyer and a business at the same time, you kind of have this kind of fallacy of like, is this going to help, the clients that you take on? It's like I get to choose, like I'm going to choose this one because I think it's going to make my business more money versus the smaller thing that might not, help me in the long run or help my business in the long run, sort of thing.
We don't turn anybody down.
Yeah.
We want smiling faces.
Yeah.
Whether we can help them get a penny or $100,000, we want smiling faces.
Yeah.
More smiling faces means more of just a broad happiness for my firm and for law firms and personal injury law firms in general.
Yeah.
Because we don't want any bad taste.
Yeah.
Because the best referral is someone who was happy, whether you could get them compensation or not, and maybe they tell a friend or two. But the worst one is somebody that leaves unhappy, they tell 10 or 15 of their friends, right? The multiplier for haters goes, the trolls just explodes. And so I want to work, folks that are in the warm network that are happy, whether we get them anything or not, they leave and say, hey, at least they had my back.
Yeah.
At least they picked up when I called. At least they texted back.
Yeah.
And that's all we can do. That's all we promise. That's why we work on what's called contingency. We only make money when we win something.
Yeah.
We don't charge hourly. We don't bill hourly. We don't send fee. We only win when you win. And I know that's a lot of like brands and slogan, we win and you win, or no win, no fee, or all this. And it's the truth. Sometimes it gets lost because it's a slogan, or it's just a stupid rhyme.
Yeah.
But guess what? It's the truth. And so, we're putting all this effort out. We're putting all this resources out. We're putting our name out, all in the name of getting your back.
Yeah.
All in the name of saying, hey, we're going to do our best to get the dough. And if we get it, we're going to take a little piece. And everyone is okay with that.
That's a really good way of going about it, because I'm like, there's all of these things where it's like that make us so, worried about adding lawyers into the situation. It's those types of things and those types of, call outs that is just like, it makes me feel better and comfortable of like, okay, I don't think I can afford a really big lawyer, but I know that I can at least trust these guys because A, they're going to help me until we win something, or B, it's like I just trust them enough and I feel something here connected wise that I'm just going to give it to them and just really work with them all the way.
Where you're going with this, and this is one of the other reasons I'm starting this firm, people think they have to hire attorneys, okay? And a large portion of our community here are brown and blacks on the west side. So guess where my office is? It's on the west side. Because they're underrepresented and they're unrepresented, and that's why I'm in Buckeye.
Yeah.
Brown and blacks in Phoenix are scared to pick up the phone because of their status, because they might have something might happen at work if they call an abogado. Maybe they're late on their payments, and so if they call somebody official, that they think all the officials know each other, and we're going to tell on somebody.
Yeah.
And so there's this big mistrust and distrust of the brown and black community as a whole here in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I went to Buckeye. I'm not here on Camelback. I'm not here in Indian School. I'm 45 miles away.
Yeah.
Because there's a community out there, a huge growing community, by the way, 100,000 people going strong that need representation, but they don't know what to do because they're scared.
Yeah.
They think they have to hire. They think they're going to get in trouble. They think they're going to upset the system.
Yeah.
They work 2 jobs. Their wife works a job. They have X amount of kids, and they don't want to screw with anything.
Yeah.
And they're hurt, and they're working hurt, and it hurts the system, and it's not like I feel sorry for them. I'm just saying, hey, don't feel sorry for yourself. Hire me or hire somebody.
Somebody, yeah.
Hire me or hire somebody to help you get you out of your situation.
Yeah.
And it's that fear, again, how we started this. It's that fear. It's that unknown. It's that uncertainty. And in, again, the brown and black community, it's already hard enough. And then you add an injury,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's at work or anywhere, it just multiplies it. And so then it's the emotional toll, right? And then you go home and you're upset, and then the family, and then it just trickles and trickles, and then it just goes until something bad happens. So call somebody, call a billboard, call me, call TV, get represented.
It's again, I think you're touching on a lot of factors and a lot of different things, and it's really great to have you aboard. You have me so captivated by just your energy and how much you want to make a change for the better. And it's really helpful to have you in our kind of presence right now. I think to myself, okay, what else can I ask him? Because I think that there is so much going on in the larger community that would want something like this to be heard on a grander scale. What I think I want to kind of touch upon is, what have you learned from being in this community or being a part of Arizona as a person who's not only a business owner, but like a parent, and also someone who's just living day to day in the confines of the valley?
Great question. What have I learned about Arizona? People want to make it here.
Yeah.
Okay. People want to make it here. They want to have a good life. They want to have half an acre, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, maybe a pool, and just raise their kids and not pay high taxes and be left the hell alone.
Yeah.
Okay. Still the Wild West. And from that, people want to also climb the ladder. They want to succeed. They want to do something. They want to be heard. They want to be successful. And a part of that is being near Phoenix, right? Being close to the downtown, which hopefully will get revitalized. But if they can't make it to Phoenix, they're still going to the outlier regions, which are coming in. You think of Casa Grande, you think of Queen Creek, you think of Buckeye, you think of north of 17, Anthem. It's all coming in and closing in. Why? It's because larger companies are coming here and investing in Phoenicians.
Yep.
They're coming in here in droves. Our government is opening up their pocketbooks for tax breaks, which is good or bad. I won't go there, but it's creating, and we don't have the water, by the way. But
that's another thing. Another one. We can go about. We can talk about that for hours.
But to answer your question, so what have I learned? People are excited to come here. They want to come here.
Yeah.
They're coming from all other states in droves. It's not that they're not just coming from California. They're coming from everywhere. Mm-hmm. I'm from the East Coast, and so we want to be here. There's less regulation. There's deregulation.
Yeah.
Obviously, clearly, you're looking at it. And people, they want to stretch their legs, and they don't want to be looked at.
Yeah.
And I think that sets up for success when you're given a little bit of breathing room. And in Arizona, we have breathing room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the pivotal things that I like to ask a lot of the business owners is because, one, I think on a revolutionary scale, on a futuristic scale, on whatever scale you want to look at, there is something going on in this particular city that, A, it's a growing city, but B, it's something about it that just kind of really interconnects a lot of individuals and a lot of families and a lot of different ties that make it so grand. And one of the things that we've noticed is just kind of this, like you said, a want and need, an ability to want to do better, to want to live some kind of life where they're just active or having growth in their life. And it's just really beautiful.
You take a look at the folks that move here, and you have folks from the Midwest to the North, and it gets to minus 30. And then they come here in their shorts and they're super white, right? Their legs are, all pasty, and they enjoy it, right? You have California, their issues have gotten them into some troubles, and it's inaffordable living there.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to live inland unless you're a great grandkid of like a gold digger, right? Unless you took the train out there, the Mayflower went around, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way you can live on the coast there.
Yeah.
And so you look at Arizona, and you go, wow, I can get this for that. Wow, honey, we can save, we can put away, we can take a couple trips, we can really live a nice life. Mm-hmm. And then Arizona has done a great job advertising for that, marketing for that. Our airport is abundant. We have great services. We have great manufacturing. We have great agriculture. Our economy is growing. Mm-hmm. I mean, growing. It's blowing up.
Yeah.
Our tax base is growing. You look at Taiwan Semiconductor off the 17.
Yeah.
There's 30 or 40 cranes at any given time. On the west side out in Buckeye, there's a distribution plant. They crank out 50,000 cans of Red Bull an hour.
Wow. Jeez.
And so that's bringing jobs, that's bringing investment. So it's not just west side, it's central Phoenix, it's north, it's south. I mean, Arizona's the place to be.
Yeah.
It really is. The gap from Phoenix to Tucson is closing.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, from here to Casa Grande, it used to be a ghost town.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of, because track homes and stuff like that, where it's just like, it's just endless now.
Yeah. Pinal County 10, 15 years ago was a ghost county. Now it's absolutely blowing up.
Yep.
All right. I remember when I was going to college here in ASU, the 101 ended at Shea.
Yeah.
Well, now they have a 101, a 202, and a 303.
Yep.
All right, and a 404 is coming. All right, 2050. All right, because it's gonna go into California.
Yep.
And so, I guess to answer your question, I'm all in on Arizona, and people that are all in on Arizona, businesses that are all in on Arizona, they're gonna win.
Yep. Well, thank you again, Brendan. We're reaching towards the end here.
Okay.
Some of the things that we kind of hit upon at the end is kind of future and goals for the business. If there's something that our clients or listeners or anyone that can hear you right now, if they can help you out with something, I mean, now's the time to like give them the kind of real deep, like, I want this or I wish this for the business right now.
If you get hit, call somebody. It doesn't have to be me. This is not self-fulfilling. Just call somebody. Call Jose. Call Brittany. Okay, just call somebody.
Yes.
And I know I'm being a little facetious here and fun, but to close out, don't be scared. Don't be apprehensive. You can find an advocate, whether it's me or anyone else. They're all great. Get represented.
Nice. And that's a wonderful way to conclude this conversation, because I think you are fantastic. Not only that, but I think you have a great head on your shoulders, so to speak. And it's just really wonderful to have someone of your energy and your specific tailored, I want this for people. And I think it's just going to grow and grow and grow. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck. I know you're going to do just fine.
Excellent.
And last but not least is the time to promote. Let everyone know where they can find you, like social media wise, phone number if you have it, or physical address.
Sure.
Let them know.
AZ Law Now Injury Attorneys, azlawnow.com. I'm not that fancy on Instagram yet. I'm on Facebook. LinkedIn is my preferable social media drug of choice as of now.
Nice.
602-654-0202.
Awesome. And we do have a little bit of an outro. You can listen to every episode of our podcast at findingarizonapodcast.com. And if you want to find us on social media, Finding Arizona Podcast under everything. Last but not least, we always end our conversations with our guests with the kisses, hugs, and belly rubs to our four-legged friends. And we will see you next time. Bye, y'all.